Hey guys, my name is Onyx Flux and I'm here with Benedict, an FGA gemologist, and we are back for our Sapphire series. Today we're going to be doing blues, the most requested obviously of all. It's the most ordered, the most desired, and the most common, right? Because sapphires come in a wide range of colors, but pretty much everyone knows blue.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't done, when you asked me about blue, I'm like, but we've done one. But no, we did like an overall sapphires, but we haven't focused on blues.
So we're overdue.
Yeah.
And we're going to go into, obviously, the prices of them, the treatments, the origin, so everything you need to know before buying your engagement ring.
So sapphires are part of the group corundum, which also has rubies. Yeah. So hardness of 9, very hard, very durable. The diamond's going to be harder, but it's going to have cleavage.
Well, we're just talking about like the cleavage of a diamond is that it's hard to scratch, but if you were to hit it,
at that specific
little sweet
point,
spot, it'll crack. But a sapphire is more stable than that. It's harder to crack. Now let's break down the qualities of the stone and what to look out for.
That's the most important would be the color. And within that category, there's different things to look. First thing is the saturation.
Yeah.
So you have very light colors to more medium, what I would call medium blue. That can be referred as cornflower. And then there's another one that's just under royal blue. And then you have royal blue that is the nicest color, the most expensive color. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it gets too dark, where you can find in some like Australian, this is blue, but it's just almost black or just very, very dark. So the most saturation you have, the more expensive it gets. And then, all with the same inclusion level and all, because you can find a very more included medium blue that's going to be less expensive than a lighter stone if it's super clean and well cut. And
the color is going to trump the clarity for sure.
Yeah. Then the second thing you want to look if there's color zoning, because these are quite common in sapphires. Sometimes you'll have like parts where it's lighter.
I find it really easy to, even when you look at the stone from the back, it's the easiest place to see like the color zonings. Oftentimes it can look even just like kind of like a wave. Most of them will have that. Most of the sapphires we sell will have a slight, as long as it doesn't impact the look from the face up. Yeah, I feel like that's fine.
That's not really color, but that velvety look that shimmer, this will also add value.
For that velvety color, you're not going to see that as much as in paler stones. You're going to see that in more saturated stones. So if you're expecting to see that kind of like satin finish in like a very, very light blue, you're going to be disappointed.
Usually it's going to be hot pink sapphires. I've seen it. Purple. Sometimes it will look more like opalescent. There's going to be like kind of orange color in it. The second thing we want to look at when we buy sapphires, it's the inclusions. Yeah. Natural sapphires will have inclusions. Usually they're not super visible to the naked eye.
You have good quality. You have good quality stones. Well, so it's not the same.
Well, I have this one that's got like, cracks, but usually it's not like emeralds, that dark inclusion.
Yeah. Well, emerald has literally the name The Garden.
Yeah.
It's like their inclusions have been branded that because it's in every emerald. The sapphires don't have that, but rubies will have that. Rubies are often much more included.
Yeah. Rubies, they're more expensive, more included. Makes no sense. Sapphires are pretty.
They're both in the corundum family, but like you would be amazed. The same price for like the same quality of ruby, you're gonna end up with a significantly smaller stone. Yeah, it's incomparable.
And the rubies sometimes with the inclusion also have this velvety kind of look to them. This velvety, it's needles, so that's like a very common inclusion in sapphires. They're needles. Other inclusion would be healed fractures that you can see sometimes with the loupe and the microscope. You'll see it looks like fingerprints, kind of fractures in the stone that with the time of the formation and the time it waited in the ground with the heat and everything, it kind of like partially healed. And crystals, little crystals, but they're so tiny that, it's hard to see them.
I got a question today. What is the clarity of my stone? We're not evaluating it the same as a diamond. We're looking at, is it eye clean, magnifying clean, or not eye clean?
Yeah.
Or not we don't get that. Not clean. Dirty stone.
Because you don't want
pure glass.
Diamonds are so popular because it's white, it's round, it's the same. Put two next to each other. They both sparkle. They're both white.
Yeah.
They're both the exact same. But sapphires.
Is this your way of saying it's bland, Benedict?
No, not even. No, I'm just saying the people won't
Just
notice.
saying.
I won't notice. You know, like
Yeah.
But a sapphire, I will notice.
Yeah.
People will notice. It will look because synthetic sapphires, they kind of look like Cracker Jack stones, like rings, you know. That's why I think it will never, because, you know, diamonds, natural, we're not talking about that, but it's kind of disrupting the industry a bit. And people ask me sometimes, you know, is it like that with sapphires? Synthetic sapphires they've
always
a
been
long
around.
time ago. It just shows. So the stone, even I look at this, I'm like, this is perfect. This looks perfect. But if I put an actually perfect stone next to it, they're all unique, and that's why you cannot grade them the same as diamond.
Yeah, as long as it's eye clean, no visible inclusions, like, you're fine.
And that's more of the jeweler's job, but also there can be cracks or fractures. Then you don't want something that's like very close to the girdle, but that's not, like, on nice quality stones, it's not gonna happen.
And talking about girdle, I think that's a perfect transition into cuts.
Oh yeah, cutting,
Yep.
which is also a big part of the quality factor, because a badly cut sapphire just doesn't look. It's the same for diamonds, for
literally anything.
stone.
That's what's gonna make it sparkle or not. Especially for you guys who want to go for the darker sapphire. What ends up happening basically is when you have a darker stone, the less light passes through it. So these are the stones that you really want to make sure that have an excellent cut, because otherwise they're going to be super dull. This one's like very dark.
Yeah.
But it has a nice cut, and so it still has, you know, fire in it.
Yeah. I mean, even lighter, if it's too shallow, you're going to see the window right away.
Yeah.
It's the cut is really, really important.
A shallow pavilion. Do you have examples?
This one I would say is a bit shallow.
Yeah.
I would give it probably maybe 2 millimeter. One, you can see through it. It's not the worst one. I would say it's a bit shallow. And then a deep stone. I know.
Pretty deep.
See, it's almost as deep as it's large.
I mean, it's a beautiful stone.
It still sparkles bright. Very nice. It's not. There's no extinction. It's not dark, but it's symmetrical.
It just, at the end of the day, it just kind of sucks because you're losing a little bit of carat weight on the bottom. But if the overall stone looks good, it's
yeah. For the cutting, there's also something that cutters keep in mind, and it's pleochroism.
Yep.
Not so much in smaller sapphires because you see it when you tilt it, but for bigger piece, color, the light won't absorb the color the same. And so sapphires, one angle will be like a deep blue and the other angle slightly greenish. So the cutters will not only take in consideration of the shape of the rough, but also that kind of angle, like at which angle it's going to look the best when you've seen from the top.
Yeah, this is not something I feel like is commonly known about sapphires. I think people, when they think pleochroic, they think like tourmaline, probably.
Tourmaline,
Tanzanite, yeah.
And it's funny because all the like confusion to sapphire, like the stones that look like sapphires, they're pretty easy to identify just by this change of absorption. And that's when we're on the field. You can also, because sometimes at a mine, let's say Madagascar, they will find garnet, sapphire, topaz, same mine. At the end of when they process the stone and they just dig for the rough, you'll have all of these, and sometimes it's going to be peachy paparacha sapphires or Malaya garnets. The more material you have, the darker it is. So sometimes you're just going to shift it. If there's more material, it's going to be darker. That's normal, but it's literally going to be two different color.
Yeah.
So like paparacha will be like more orangey and more pink, as the garnet won't do that because it's a garnet. It doesn't have this prism. Tanzanite's the same. It's going to be purple and blue.
All right, so now we're going to go into prices. Touched on like different qualities of stones, and that's what's really going to influence the prices. So we're going to give you examples and also just kind of brackets as to what to expect. If you guys are looking for an engagement ring, you can always just send us a little DM. Our email links are down below. We specialize in sourcing high quality gemstones, so anything you're looking for, we can find it.
Light blue are 1 carat, maybe between 800, 1,000 per carat. For a nice stone, 1 carat size, it's going to be that. Then if you go medium blue, this can now vary from 1,000 to 6,000 for like a very nice medium blue, and royal blue with heat will go 4 to 7. So see, between 4 and 8 for like a medium blue, you can have a royal blue, but maybe it will be more included, maybe it will be more shallow, maybe it's gonna look different, but with the budget you can have different options. So royal blue with heat that has been treated, we said 4 to 7K, and then a stone that has the same color but hasn't been treated will be closer to 5 to 10K. We'll talk about that when we talk about treatments, but its price for no heat, the more saturated it is, the bigger the premium will be.
Of course, yeah.
So ruby sapphires, if you can find a stone that has this much saturation coming out of the earth like that, it's gonna be worth a lot. And heat is totally stable, acceptable. Most sapphires are heat treated. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
But everybody always asks me no heat anyways.
2 carat stones, I would say close to the same price per carat as the 1 carat stone for light blue, but then you multiply it by 2 because you have 2 carats. That's also the other thing, is that it kind of goes exponentially high, and you have to multiply it by a weight that's higher. Light blue 1,000, 2,000 per carat, then medium blue between 2,000 8,000 per carat. So that gives you a stone that can go from 4,000 16,000 for the stone, because it's 8,000 per carat. Then a nice saturated medium blue, no heat, so natural color, will be between 3 and 12K. And that again is a huge range. And then royal blue, 2 to 3 carat again, with heat, 5 to 8,000 per carat, and then 7 to 14,000
per carat.
Per carat.
Yeah.
Then so we go 3 to 3.9 carat. Light blue, this range, it's from 2 to 5K. Per carat, so depending on very nice or more included or more like purple or green undertones, but still to me the light blue, and it depends on where you are, Montreal, New York, places where it's more like maybe cloudy or less sun, more like Nordic countries, the lighter and to the medium would be the best. And then if you're like in Dubai, Miami, Sri Lanka, Bangkok, it's where the sun is very high, then royal blue and medium blue, but royal blue will look
stunning. I'm looking for a client in Dubai right now, and it doesn't matter that it's a little bit on the darker because it's going to pop in the sun.
And then medium blue. So this is heat treated medium blue, $7,000 per carat. So you multiply this. So these are $20,000 to $25,000 gemstones. This is for medium. Royal will be maybe 6 to 16 carat. So you triple that. That's the price of the stone. It gets high. I have this light blue. This is $1,000 per carat. Even if it's an 8 carat. 8.96 carat. So it's almost, but it's included. It's like, it's got color. This is for like someone who wants like a big rock but doesn't want to pay the price for a 9 carat. So you can find very big stones that have low price per carat, but they're still going to be big. So you still have to, it's still, it's 9 carat. So at the end of the day, it's still a $9,000 stone. It's not cheap, but it's big, and it's a sapphire.
Whatever. I mean, there's a client for everything. It's still it's still nice. But...
So this would be royal blue, 4.24 carat. This is 30,000. It's 7,000 per carat. And heated, I said royal blue 7 to 12,000 per carat for heated, and 15 to 20 for no heat. Multiply by 4 to 5 carat. And these are all over that. I would say 5 carats and more. We can source it, we can find it. It's not as hard as other gems like ruby would be. Finding a 5 carat ruby, you find it in auction, or it's going to be heavily included or very, very, very expensive. So it's still stones that you can find in large size.
I've come around, and I always see you having the 4 to 5. So I'm not too worried about that. If you go over, maybe a little bit, but
if
just
you
depends
go
how
over,
rushed you are,
then it's just it's huge, and it's just too big for rings and stuff like that.
Never too big. Never too
For
big.
a pendant or a crown,
Yeah.
For 1 carat for engagement ring size, it's still quite affordable for precious stones, because they're one of the few stones that we're allowed to call precious stones.
Still always go a little bit over a carat, just because sapphires do weigh a little bit heavier. So if you're looking at, like, let's say 6.5 millimeter diamond, that's a carat. A 6 millimeter sapphire is going to be a carat, so it's smaller. Especially if it's a little bit deep.
That's it. 2 carat, 3 carat, I've seen, it's not like shocking. It's a nice size, but 1 carat, it's going to be a bit smaller than a diamond for the same weight. If you want to compare, so a royal blue heated to a ruby heated, 2 to 3 carat range, the royal blue will be 5 to 8K, and the ruby, same size, will be 14 to 25K per carat. So it's a huge difference. And then no heat, royal blue will be 7 to 14K, and a ruby like 25 to 35K for like a nice. This is with origin, Burmese origin, no heat, and very good quality.
All right, so now that we touched on like prices and colors, let's go into some imitations and some alternatives to sapphire that kind of resemble it.
I would say the most common or the most popular or known is tanzanite. Tanzanite's got this very rich purplish blue that really looks like sapphires. There's some people say they wish that sapphire had the color of tanzanite, just because of that very rich purple undertone. It is a bit softer. It's 6.5, so it's not the best for engagement ring. It's okay for a ring as long as you know how to take proper care of it. It's a bit more fragile, but it's gorgeous. It's a fraction of the price. This is $17,000 for the stone. It's 3.28 carat. This is 1 carat more, and it's 4,400. One way to know tanzanite is also by the pleochroism. So when you'll move it, you'll get very purple angles and more blue angles. And when they cut it, they will also decide, do they want to cut to have more of a blue color from the face up? Purple.
More of a purple undertone,
And to me, it's the best imitation or confusion to sapphires.
And still within like the natural, right? Yeah. It's a very beautiful stone.
The other one that's very good is kionite. So kionite really has the rich velvety royal blue color. It's got a decent hardness, but only in one direction. It's got 7.5 in one direction, which is like quartz, tourmaline. It's good. And 5.5 in the other direction.
That's so odd. I didn't know that.
Yeah, some sapphires also has a very light the differential hardness that you notice when you cut, because when you polish, some facet will like cut or polish like very quickly and almost disappear, and then some you'll have to like really spend a long time, because so this you'll feel it, but it won't show because it's like they're both high hardness. But this one, the kionite, I've had a client like maybe 5 or 7 years ago, and he came and he said, my client bought this ring in New York, it's a sapphire, it's gorgeous stone, but it looks weird and he wants to know if it can be replaced. And we get the stone, and literally the stone, gorgeous color, gorgeous clarity, but just like scratched in one direction.
Oh, so odd.
And we test, and like just that, it can you kind of know right away that it's a kionite. But so it's very odd. It's more for studs, necklaces,
anything in no contact.
But it's a very good imitation. But it's just it's very strange. The one direction. That's the last one. It would be iolite.
Ooh.
Which is a bit more purple.
Yeah.
It's a bit more inky, or like midnight-y. I don't know how to describe it.
I like iolite, but I've always found it to be a little bit flat. I don't know, it doesn't pop. Like between this and tanzanite, I would choose tanzanite.
Yeah. The way to identify it is that this way it's smoky, it's almost colorless, and then from the top it just pops the color. So the pleochroism, usually in stones, it's going to be different shades. Like it's going to be blue green, or like pinkish orange. Iolite is literally colorless and blue. And this, when you buy, if you turn it around, we'll show you by video, but you really just see it kind of disappear. And in some countries, they call them water sapphires, because when you like move them, they become water. These are kionite, iolite. They're very inexpensive, like garnet. So they're affordable, they're nice, they're blue. There's two treatments that are the most commonly used will be heat. Because heat can do a lot of things. 95% of sapphires and rubies or corundum will be heat treated. Even in all gemstones, it's the most common use.
It's the norm. Like if you're buying a sapphire, by default you should expect it to be heated, unless if it said otherwise, but it's generally always heated.
If you go to a jewelry store and you look at a nice blue sapphires, they're gonna tell you it's a natural sapphire, which it is. It's going to be heat treated. The no heat will come with a premium. It's like the base price is for heat. It's not the base price is for no heat, and then it loses value when it's heated. It's the value is for heated, and it just has a premium when it's no heat. One of the most commonly used is to improve the color, either by darken the color, they're going to make it lighter, depending again on what they're doing. The length, low temperature will often kind of tone down the color until you reach a certain time and temperature, and then it kind of goes up in saturation.
Because low temperature is becoming more common, right? And it's harder to detect.
Well, it's harder to detect because something else, that the other thing that heat can do is it's gonna change the inclusion, so the purity. So your stone it's gonna melt the inclusion. We talked about the
those little needles, they're gonna slowly start to fade out.
And then we can see it under the microscope. We can see a no heat stone will have perfect needles, and the heated stone, the needles, you still see like the trajectory of the needle, but it's kind of like dust more than an actual needle. And with the low heat, the needle would probably stays the same. The healed fracture will change a bit, but they won't change as much as when you put like 2200 degrees for 8 hours. Detectable, they started doing more research because so low temperature can be done artisanal way. They can do it straight at the mine, and that happened in Madagascar, where the Malagasy, they kind of learned how to do it, so they would do it straight at the mine,
like on a little bonfire with marshmallows.
Literally, not like that, but almost, because that's it. They don't want too much heat. They don't want to change the inclusion. They just want to improve the color and not buy so much. And some labs, and then people were buying these stones, and obviously you're at the mine. And usually the treatment will be done in Thailand or Sri Lanka. Madagascar is not known to be a place where they have like heat treatments facility, and most of their rough is bought by Sri Lankan or Thai people, and then they're cut and polished and heat treated in Sri Lanka or Thailand. But some labs were giving lab reports where it's been heat treated, and the people were like, well, no, because I bought it at the mine, and then they realized. So they kind of study it more, because also, where is the line? Because those are temperature that the earth can heat the stones at. So it's very hard to detect. Was it done after it's been mined or before? Yeah. The color, sometimes it can also induce color. There's some sapphires that we call Goethe sapphires. They're gonna be like kind of grayish, white. They really look like nothing. They look like the salt they put on
like
the
silver
street.
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit silvery. And when they discovered that when they heat them, there is, because the blue, it comes from titanium, the presence of this element. By heating them, it would like transform this titanium and just becomes crazy colors of blue. Or completely explode. Because that's also the risk.
Well, that's what happened to me. I remember a few years ago when I was looking for very large white sapphires. It's your mom that told me they all turn them blue because they're of higher quality at blue.
Yeah.
Than keeping them white.
Now they just heat treat them to see if there's blue in it, because blue sapphires and white sapphires,
not the same.
Like the light blues, lighter colored, there'll often be just no heat because you don't want to heat them. Paparacha will often be no heat simply because if the soft pastel
that's
orangey,
what we want.
That's what people want. They don't want to make them more saturated. They don't want to remove the orange in it.
No, I had a client this week inquiring, asking about no heat. They thought it was very hard to find no heat paparachas, but they're all in the paler colors. That's what clients want. So it's, if you're looking for a very saturated one, no heat, that would be harder.
Other treatment would be heat and diffusion. So they test, I think maybe in the 50s or 70s, they tried to heat the stones by adding element. When they figured out chromium and titanium, they would heat by adding those elements, and this would kind of like get into the stone, into the crystalline structure, but not very deep. So these sapphire will look gorgeous, very blue, but it's kind of only on the surface. If it chips and you have to recut it, it could become almost colorless. This is easy to detect. It should be disclosed. It's not like heat treatment where you just assume it is. This has to be disclosed. It's not. It's stable as long as you don't do anything with your stone, but if it scratches, if it chips, if it breaks, you cannot really recut it. And
so it's really not like an ideal option for an engagement ring.
No. Yeah. To me, it's not like one of those acceptable treatments.
No, obviously not.
Like oil and emerald is normal, heat in rubies and sapphire is normal, irradiation in topaz, it's normal, but diffusion has to be disclosed, and the price has to
be a lot lower.
Significant. A lot lower. Now, not for blues, but the diffusion, now they found the nice element of beryllium, that it's very, very tiny. And they can do diffusion on paparacha and green stones and orange stones and yellows.
We covered that in our yellow sapphire video, yellow and orange. Yeah. We go deep into beryllium. A lot of the yellow stones are beryllium treated.
The beryllium goes deep.
Wah, wah. Benedict on fire.
So good. Treatment, that's the
gist of it.
That's the gist, yeah.
The origins, because sometimes there's going to be novelty stones. If they come from certain regions, they're going to have a higher value towards.
Yeah. Historically, we're going to think first about cashmere sapphires. These are not mined anymore. The term cashmere today refers more as the look of the. It's not even the color, it's really the look of the stone, because the inclusions, they kind of make it, they will say velvety, but kind of like if you have hair in it, it's very fine needles that makes it a bit more silky, a bit more, you don't see through it. It doesn't sparkle as like a very clean stone, but there's something in it that
a glow.
Yeah, it's the inclusion kind of diffuse the light within, gives this aspect. This region doesn't have any new deposit. They're not mining there, so you will find stones that either look like that are from Madagascar, Sri Lanka, or other origin, but they will still be referred as cashmere just because of that look.
Would want an origin report along with your sapphire if it is cashmere or not?
Because you can find some in auctions or like on vintage or antique jewelry, but you would want that. Sri Lanka, so Ceylon sapphire, they will call it. It's a very nice color, and now Madagascar is competing with Sri Lanka in term of color and quality and size. There's other origins.
Well, sapphires, you can pretty much find them almost everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, but good ones. I mean, we have some in Canada. I pulled out a few that we'll probably try to show because they're tiny. So zoom on in. Zoom on it very close. Other main source is going to be Thailand. They're known for maybe darker blue, Australia, USA, but it's very rare that we'll have a true blue. Sometimes Montana, they have bluer stones.
But
Australia,
I feel like the blues are almost always teal, greens, slightly like yellow undertones.
People, they ask for Montana because they want that teal, but Montana does have,
they do have blue.
Nice blues, but for sure if you put it next to like a royal blue, you're gonna see there's something different. So Australia is gonna be more inky with more
color zoning.
Holes of color, that it's not gonna be as like uniform.
A quick note on like the ethics side. Can we still find, Sri Lanka, Madagascar? You're still sourcing, stones with good origins, even if they aren't from the US.
I mean, sapphires, Sri Lanka is very ethical, the way they source gemstones. Madagascar, I've been there. People are not forced. There's no kids in mines. People have this sometimes family to family. They will go to and it's opportunities, and it's like an economy over there. People, they will say, I want the states, they will have measures in place. It's going to be more ethical. Madagascar, Sri Lanka is absolutely no problem. They're sustainable. They've been doing this for hundreds, thousands of years. So
it's almost just like this is the opportunity in the community. This is what they do.
And it's like it's a tough job. Like I've been to Madagascar to the mine, and it's a tough job, but people come from other regions of Madagascar to go there. Sometimes they bring their family. If they're sometimes they'll leave the wife and the kids in the city because they can go to school. But when there's enough people, they might open a school. They'll bring the family. It's like a whole economy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Benedict.
Well,
if you guys are looking for an engagement ring, my links are down below. You can just send us an email, and we're happy to source the sapphires for you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
See you next time. Bye.